final class is actually two classes, and since it's a little bit complicated and I want to show you things about it, I'm going to look at them over here on the PowerPoint rather than on the idle window. As we guessed, I had a class drunk, but look how simple it is. The only thing that drunk does is it has a name and it can print the name. What we see here is really drunk is what we before called an abstract class. It's not intended to do anything useful by itself. It's intended to be subclassed to give us different kinds of drunks. And as we'll see, not in this segment, but in a future segment, we can use it to create some rather interesting and divergent behaviors depending upon the predilections of individual drunks. This segment will look at only one drunk, one class of drunk, and I'm going to call that the usual drunk. That's the kind of drunk we've been talking about so far. The most important thing to see here is that I'm importing class random. Most programming languages, including Python, include simple ways to write programs that use randomness. When we need randomness in a Python program, we import the class random, and that supplies us with a whole variety of useful functions. Here we're only using one. We're using the function random.choice. Random.choice has its argument a sequence, and at random chooses a single element of that sequence. With equal probability, it might choose any element. So for example, if I were to look at something like random.choice of range 3, it would at random return an integer in the range, what? 0 to 2, because we know that's the sequence that range 3 generates. Here, it will return a random element of step.choices, which we define to be a list of tuples corresponding to the steps in the north, south, east, and west direction. So for example, 0, 0 is a step north, 0 minus 1 is a step south, a step east, and a step west. With that, I'll stop, and in the next segment, we'll use these classes to start building our first interesting simulation.